What you have to do is you have to choose something like guys and girls work, different ages work well. In this case, you've got
men and women,
and also you two actresses there at the start are so different from us. I mean, so different from each other that if they wanted her, they don't want you, or vice versa.
Yes, exactly. Because if not, sometimes we are thinking, who is this other person that I don't know anything about it? That if it is that, what generates the question is bad. It's bad.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
Yes.
My name's Scott Cleverdon.
My name is Assumpta Serna.
And today is the 25th of May in the year of our Lord 2023. And here we are.
Here we are.
To talk about Showreels, which is something that we've been doing for 3 years.
So many interesting demo reels you found. That's very nice.
Isn't it good? So I'd like to thank everybody who sent us demo reels for us to look at. We can't guarantee we're going to get to everything all at once because there's too many of them, and we also like to give everything its time. And also, what's also very interesting is to find out what other resources that the actors have. Then they send us something, because very often they forget something which actually might be slightly more useful than the thing that they sent us. Okay, because the objective of what we're doing is to try and help actors and actresses to use the material they have in the best way that they can. And the first objective of what we do is to do no harm.
Exactly. That is in our heart. And I don't know, let's start, no, Scott?
Yeah, let's...
Well, thank you for everyone that is there. Thank you, Francisco, that you are from LA, and all the people that they are also in Instagram. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for reminding me about that.
Exactly.
I completely forgot to do that.
That's okay.
Isn't that terrible?
No, it's not terrible.
I'm such an evil person.
No,
I don't know.
not.
Yeah, so I should be ashamed of myself.
Anyway, so
Oh God.
whenever you want.
Oh, so Assumpta, do your magic.
No, it's yours.
Well, then it's my.
Which is the...
Right. One. It's this one, and then this one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Go. Tonight we're going to be reviewing Showreels. So, thanks to everybody who's joining. And remember, if you're on Instagram with us right now, the best way to watch us is with the links that you see down below. And if you discover us here afterwards, remember to give this video a like if you liked it. And if you don't, you can dislike it, but that will make me a little bit sad. You can do that. The other thing is, if you're on Facebook, remember to like the page, and we're always putting articles and things that are interesting up there. Tonight's Thursday, which means it's the night that we're going to do everything in English. And now we get to say the King's English. It used to be the Queen's English before, but now it's the King's English, man. So, talking of English, which is interesting because last week we had Laia, who's from Barcelona originally, and there's things in her showreel that were in Spanish. And tonight we got a gentleman, the first one we're going to watch, who is, I believe, from Georgia. And when I say Georgia, I mean Georgia, Russia, Georgia, instead of, where Atlanta is, America, Georgia. But this is a very interesting thing because you speak 6 languages, I speak 2, more or less, and more it's happening where people are having international careers. They're coming from somewhere else and they're working in various different projects.
Yes, and I'm very happy about that because I was very alone. I was feeling very alone in the 80s when I went into London, into LA, and I was almost the only actress that spoke so many languages, but that now is okay. Let's say that from 10 years ago, the things started really to kick ass.
Yeah, things have really changed, haven't they?
Things change, and that is good because I always, all my career that I had and all the advantages was actually because I had this international career, and I think that is something that is worth considering, now that is also, a global, of course I was a pioneer and, I suffered all the bad disadvantages of being, the first one. But it's true that it was interesting to me, to understand and to go there. And I have the best experiences from LA, from Argentina, from, anyway, more than, I don't know how many countries. The only one that I suffered was Thailand, and it's because, I couldn't actually speak the language. So let's go with the
Russia was pretty tricky as well because you can't read the signs.
Yes,
that's tricky.
It's true.
Right, so let's go ahead and watch the first demo that we've got up today. You ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Right, hang on a second. Let's just take this from the start.
რა გინდა ასაკეთ? რა ხდება? გამაგებინე ვინ არიან ესენი?
მე აგიხსნით თუ შეიძლება. მე დავახოს შვილი არ გვიჩნდება და ამიტომ დაგჭირდა სუროგატი დედა. ეს მე დავახოს შვილია, უბრალოდ სოფო მუცლით ატარებს.
რას ბოდავ? რას? რატო უნდა ატაროს ჩემმა ცოლმა ვიღაცის შვილი?
დამშვიდი, მე აგიხსნე.
რას ამიხსნე? რას ამიხსნე? ამისგან ხარ ხო ორსულად შენი ბოზი დედა მო.
გამოდი გარეთ.
გამიშვი ხელი შენ ნაბიჯვარო. შენ დაორსული ხო ჩემი ცოლი? შენი დედა მო.
პატრონს გამოუძახე!
შენი დედას შებეძია. დაგხოცავთ ყველა.
წადი თორე დაგიჭერე.
რატო ერთი ექსპერტო?
იმიტომ რომ სასაცილოა. თან მერლინ მონრო თამაშობს. კაცები გიждდებიან მაგ ქალზე მამა. ისე მერლინ მონრო შენს კი მოგწონს.
სისულელეების ლაპარაკს მოეში ახლა შენ.
რატომ ძლევს სახიობი ქალი რომ მოწონდეს არ შეიძლება? ისე.
უდევს.
ო,
თან უდევმონაზონს.
რატომ ღვთაემონაზონი ადამიანი არ არის? უბრალოდ მოწონდეს შორიდან.
აი ახლა თავი დამონებია.
The generals have confirmed your identity.
Oh, thank God.
We're gonna give you to the bars in exchange for 4 paratrooper they've taken prisoner.
What?
I know. Great news.
Kate, don't be afraid.
Just her. You stay here. They wouldn't.
Bite your tongue off.
Treats me like a dog.
გოშენია. მე ჯეიმს ბონდი ვარ.
უფრო ხალხა გიჟებს. ქუთაისში რა უნდა? რა უნდა თურქეთში ბოზობს ხო?
მერლინ
Well, there you go.
Okay. Is he there, by the way?
I'm not sure if he is there, but he did say he will be watching this.
Okay.
Okay, so first thing I have to say is you come across as very competent and very experienced. Okay, which is great. Okay, the other thing there is that I know according to your resume, your CV, that you speak English, Georgian, and Russian. Okay, this which is pretty impressive. I didn't really know anything about the Georgian language, so I just educated myself recently on what it is. It's a very ancient language. Writing didn't come around until the 4th century when the Christians turned up, but it's a very old language. You trained in Poland and various other places. You've done Michael Chekhov, Suzuki, Tbilisi is where you were. So you're pretty hardcore Georgian with a Russian bent. You've worked in film, television, and extensively in theater, like a ton of stuff. Okay, so this is a great indication and a really good insight into somebody who's worked a lot and done a lot. No.
Yes.
What else would you have to say about it?
No, okay. I just have 2 or 3 things to say, but I like to
You want
go
to
as
revise it?
Yeah,
Okay.
revise it one by one.
Yeah, okay. I'm Muchachos. Good to see you here on YouTube again. Hey, as we're barely here, we're barely gone. He was with us yesterday when we were interviewing just remember everybody who's here right now. If you're on Facebook, share this to your wall, so you can other people who might be interested in seeing what we do. You can always take it off afterwards, and always give us a like and say hello. If you got any comments or questions, please feel free to add them wherever you happen to be right now, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or Facebook. Right, so let's go ahead and watch this again. Okay,
That is wonderful. Can we stop?
Yep.
It is a wonderful beginning. I think I don't see you very well, but I have what I get from this first image in profile is is a nice picture. Is a film. Is with treated the image so that is nice. Professional. So, I even if I cannot see you, I can see, okay, so that is is a professional actor, which is nice. And then, the have no hair is always something that is...
Joseph is very striking.
Striking.
It's very striking and very, very definitely what would be a type in many ways.
Many ways, yes. In America, for sure. And here, too. I mean... Yeah, his face conveys force, strength, conveys also, brutality, conveys also something that viciousness, you can say, is interesting, because all that we see is in positive, have a very palette, very very rich palette of things to show. So that's nice.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay.
რა ხდება? გამაგებინე ვინ არიან ესენი?
მე აგიხსნით თუ შეიძლება. მე დავახოს შვილი არ გვიჩნდება და ამიტომ დაგჭირდა სუროგატი დედა. ეს მე დავახოს შვილია, უბრალოდ სოფო მუცლით ატარებს.
რას ბოდავ? რას? რატო უნდა ატაროს ჩემმა ცოლმა ვიღაცის შვილი?
დამშვიდი, მე აგიხსნე.
რას ამიხსნე? რას ამიხსნე? ამისგან ხარ ხო ორსულად შენი ბოზი დედა მო.
გამოდი გარეთ.
გამიშვი ხელი შენ ნაბიჭვარო. შენ დაორსული ხო ჩემი ცოლი? შენი დედა მო.
პატრონს გამოუძახე.
შენი დედას შებედია. დაგხოცავთ ყველა.
წადი თორე დაგიჭერე.
Okay. I don't know why the girl says go away if you already are gone. But anyway, that is something. It's not you. It's from further.
Well, we don't understand the context of it, so.
Yeah. Anyway.
But the other thing I would say in relation to that is that most people aren't looking at that. They're not trying to work out the internal logic of a fragment that they're watching.
No. Yeah. But it's also well done because we understand what's happening there.
No, and the thing for me there is you see him. He's in a moment in interaction with the end. There's absolutely no. Sometimes what happens when you see an actor, particularly an actor who doesn't have a great deal of experience, when they're doing a scene which is like a full-on confrontation like that, what happens is very often they're holding a little bit back and they're a little bit scared to let it go. A lot of that's got to do with the reason that actors became actors in the first place was to avoid that sort of conflict and be around people who would accept them in whatever the hell they were doing. But the idea that you're able to do that, and it might not seem like much to you, but for a lot of actors, that's a very important thing, to genuinely step across that line and inhabit that darkness.
Yes.
The shadow is something that we talk about a lot in Jungian terms, which is the sort of thing that young actors are getting further and further away from, because there's trigger warnings and there's things that they find uncomfortable to do and say, and unfortunately, we as actors, that's our job. Is to step across that line and do the things that we wouldn't normally want to do in everyday life.
Yes. What is a pity is that I cannot see your eyes. I understand that is a choice of the director of photography and the director, but I always want to see the eyes of the actors, because if not, and you only give it to me as a gift for 3 seconds, and then everything goes from that light, and it is a little bit of a pity. When I want to see your acting, I have to see your eyes. Anyway, I can feel the attitude, I can feel other things, but I'm a little bit upset, that because I like to see your eyes, in the first scene. But anyway, it also informs of this power that I was talking about, the commitment to the violence, So it's okay. I would just trim it a little bit and get away with this and take away the last phrase of the girl, okay? Because I don't think that it
Really?
adds to the story. I wouldn't.
Really, I think it gives it an out. I think it lets it go.
Okay, well, that is me.
It sort of like takes you down and it lets you prepare for the next one.
But
Let's watch it. So
it
let's
says
go
go away, or I'll call the police. And she's gone.
შენი დედა შებედია დაგხოცავთ ყველა
წადი თორე დაგიჭერე.
You see, you're talking about just a moment of a fade out. It's not a big deal
Okay, well,
for me.
okay, I would just do the fade.
I could be wrong.
Okay, so let's go to see the second one. The second one, my problem is the balançoire, how you call it?
The swing.
The swing. The problem with the swing is that I am a little bit upset after two times because I want to see you better, So when you have something like that in a screen and you have to do that in a close-up, the movement is it has to be smaller so that in the close-up you don't get all this bother, that I'm supposed that there were other shots there, and when they did your close-up, you just have to be very conscious, of the frame, because if not, it tires the viewer, and is, and it is not the same effect that you can have in a bigger shot, there you just have to adjust a little bit, and that is what it tells me, that you comes from theater, because this thing
Because it's an idea.
Is an idea instead of something that is really with the frame, if you just do that, it would be much more strong. All the strength that could have in a general shot, it loses it into close up.
The interesting thing, though, is it's not to say that it's you come across bad or it's a bad piece of acting or anything else like that. No. All we're talking about is that on a different day, that would be the greater way to augment it. Because still you have what you have, Joseph, is you have great presence on screen, and you have a very, very particular energy that there's enormous authenticity, and it's one of the things that we always talk about with actors, is that what you really need to do is to know what your strength is, know how to play it, and bring that authenticity out, because the thing that makes you who you are is the thing that people are going to want to buy in terms of put you in their movie or their TV show.
Well, I'm a little bit, I always that I say I see that, I'm thinking, oh, the director didn't know, how to stop the actor to do so. Oh, the actor didn't know what was the frame and didn't really was efficient, to actually understand what was the frame and really, have the same strength and in the general shot. I see that is a little bit unprofessional, and it is a little bit, it's a little bit of a problem for you, because what you want is also, to have, the best of the best, and if I think that way, someone else can think that also. So it's only when this close-up stops, then everything is fine. So let's see this.
Experto.
იმიტომ რომ სასაცილოა, თან მერლინ მონდო თამაშობს. კაცები გიждდებიან მაგ ქალზე, მამა. ისე მერლინ მონდო შენც კი მოგწონს.
სისულელეების ლაპარაკს მე შეეხლა შევ.
რატომ ძლებს სახიობი ქალი რომ მოწონდეს არ შეიძლება? ისე.
უდევს.
ო,
თან უდევ მონაზონს.
რატომ ხდემონაზონი ადამიანი არ არის? უბრალოდ მოწონდა შორიდან.
Ja, ეხლა თავი დამანახე.
You know, it's so small the little piece where you actually can see you. That, anyways, for me, it's a little bit of a pity of of an actor not knowing what was in the frame and doing their best to really be
well,
efficient.
look, the thing for me is we're not entirely sure that could have been the way it was directed to be done. It could have been written. He swings on the chair while he says this. I mean, there's a million different reasons why it could happen.
No, I'm not saying to stop. I'm saying that, it has to be, it cannot be like that. In a close-up, it has to be like that. In frame.
Yeah, but what he's doing is he's moving backwards and forwards into darkness.
Yes, but even that is kind of to me, is kind of a laughing matter.
A laughing matter?
Instead
what do you mean?
Is not really the poignancy that you want of this man is destroyed by the movement.
But my answer to that, what I would say to that is, well, you want to take it out? I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It could be better, but that's got more to do with how it was shot on the day.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
but what it does, there's no damage done here.
To me, it's a damage because someone can think, well, what? That, that's not really...
No, if you took it out of context, yes. But in the context of the other material, I don't think it does damage. Because he's perfectly capable of being very hard and very focused and very dark when he needs to be.
Well, I think that it's just for him to think. Perhaps that is what it is in there. And if it doesn't bother you, okay. It bothers me.
Okay.
So
All right.
I can say.
That's fine.
I've confirmed your identity.
Oh, thank God.
We're going to give you to
Let me go back a little bit here to get to the start.
Yeah, here there is something about your voice that is that it doesn't happen in that bit, but in the other scene and how to fake a war.
Yeah.
Your voice is a little bit...
well, his voice is higher because he's speaking English, and that's a tendency that we have when we're speaking in other languages. Our voice gets higher. But the other thing is, which is more of an issue here for me in editing it, I would suggest that you up the volume about 4 decibels because it's very quiet compared to the other things.
Yes, okay. And it loses strength. You lose strength.
Well, more than that, it's not so much the volume or the pitch of your voice; it's the fact that it has less presence. Okay, that's how I would characterize it.
Must be that. Yes, to me, your voice there it says, it loses strength. Yeah,
okay.
It's weaker.
Let's go back.
The generals have confirmed your identity.
Oh, thank God.
We're going to give you to the bars in exchange for 4 paratroopers they've taken prisoner.
What?
I know. Great news.
Okay, and my problem also here is that I don't see you well. So I would just see if you can light up because I need to see you better, The light also is a little bit against you,
So what you can do is you can increase the lighting of it, ironically. You can, in the editing program, sort of make it less dark and then sort of reduce the contrast, which would help us see you more because your acting is very nice there because you're smiling and it's something which is a little bit different from the other things.
Yes, we want to see you more. Yes, yeah. That's what I would advise.
Just her. You stay here. They wouldn't.
He stays here?
No, you stay here. She stays here.
Okay, and here it happens to me the same. I'm sure you do very nice things and I cannot see it.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing which a lot of people would consider heresy. Certainly the filmmakers would. One of the things that we're dealing with is we have to understand that we are... people are going to watch these things on various different devices. They're going to watch them on their phones. They're going to watch them on iPads, computers. They're never going to watch them on a TV for the most part. Mm-hmm. It's very seldom going to happen. And you're also having to deal with the calibration or lack of calibration of any particular monitor you're going to be on. It's one of the reasons why all TV shows, American TV shows, they were always very bright. Because they had to be bright, otherwise people complained that they couldn't see it because they had their TV, they had the brilliant, the brightness turned down on their TV. So there's no shame just to make it a couple of notches lighter. Okay, I'm sure it was shot quite light. because most things are these days, and then they're darkened down. So let's see if you can raise it up a little bit. These are the problems that we're always having to deal with right now. It's one of the differences now with television. For example, you watch Netflix, you watch Prime, or any other the streaming services, that they're much darker on a TV screen than they were ever before. And that's got to do with the fidelity that everybody has on modern flat screen TVs.
Okay, so here we have to do something because I
like a dog.
vulnerability. This violin is wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. This is our Nosferatu section.
Okay. Can you stop a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
I like to say at that point before the actual montage at the end, which I think it works well. I would like something that is less intense for an European market. I understand that is very appreciated in Poland and East, but for a little bit more, Spanish, Italy, France, I think that you need also to put something that is lighter, that is not that intense, because we want also to see your other side. And I think that would be interesting, for if you want to do European or American audiences, just to put there a piece which you are a father, you're someone that is smiling, someone that is in love. I would just tape myself something that is not that intense.
Yeah. That's all the other intense ones you've got in spades. The other reason being is that you get the opportunity to show how you kind of go, oh, all right, he seems like a nice guy. It sounds odd, but it's a very useful thing. It's one of the things I always suggest to folk, that they end up in a showreel on laughter. Them laughing. It can be very impromptu and very, can be completely out of context. But it's one of those things that people like to see other people laughing. Odd that.
James Bond.
That's nice. You see, I'm James Bond. That's nice. Here, I have a problem on that. I understand. I have a problem with that little bit of, I suppose that in the out of context, is a little bit kind of, how you say it, it's not ridiculous, but the word is, is something that is almost in the verge of, of being someone else. I know that you are doing perhaps a deranged person, and I'm sure that in the context of the movie was great, but seeing it just like that is almost comical for our audiences. I want you to see that because it's good that you have also these perceptions, from this intensity, and you have to be a little bit careful that doesn't happen, So I don't know if it's in your interest to put the deranged one, the deranged bit,
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's. He's pretty good at it. He's pretty connected. He's pretty full on. The only thing it's doing is it's sort of reducing, it's look, the whole idea is like, the question is, are you afraid of being typecast? No, the correct answer is no, I'm just afraid of not being cast. So the idea is you have to play your strength, and then when you play your strength and you gain some ground, then you can begin to change what it is you do. You understand?
Yeah. It's just, when she has the band and she's doing all this and he's doing all this, it's a little bit too much for me. It's a little bit, when here there is a risk that the people say, oh, he's overacting, and I don't want that.
No, did you perceive that?
I perceive that.
Okay.
Someone can perceive that, I think. Go a little bit.
Okay.
It's just in the bit. I love that bit. It's very short, but I love it, the James Bond thing. Here. Is there just that?
თუნოში რომ რა უნდა თურქეთში ბოზობს ხო?
მერლინ მონრო.
Here we don't see you.
Yeah, same problem again.
Okay.
He knows where his camera is. I'll give him that. No?
Yes, in that one.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's very strong. There's a very clear image that you're putting across there. You come across as very, very authentic. There's enormous muscularity in the Georgian, and I think there's Russian in there as well. It's, very, very muscular. Your voice is very different when you're speaking, the languages that are close to you than when you're speaking English.
Yes.
My suggestion would be to work on something in English, get it really, really clean. The accent doesn't matter. You just need something which is strong where you can use the same kind of authenticity. You know what I mean? They're gonna call you to play every Eastern European, bad guy that there is. And the question is, what level of the bad guy you're going to play? You're going to play a henchman? Or you're going to play the bad guy? And for that, I think it would be ideal if you could get some piece of material where you were, your English was, you were in full command of it and you were speaking with status. That's what my suggestion for you would be.
Yes, and this status, I would do something that perhaps is a love scene or is a comedy. Those would be my recommendations for you to be able to have this other, European market totally open to you, So, yeah. Thank you very much for sending it.
Yeah, it's great. I don't think, it's very competent, very professional. It's very dark, which is in all senses of the word. I would suggest that when it's in very dark scenes, see if you can pump up the image a little bit in terms of the brightness. The sound in general is good. The English one needs to be a little bit louder, but other than that, it's
my
very
only
competent.
problem is that I think you narrowed by seeing that you narrowed your possibilities, and I want that to be opened a little bit more. I want to I want to see you as a normal guy, as the father, as the person who is in love, as someone who loves. That is not so intense. That is my. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
Also, as an agent, I would like to know if you are able to do this. You see, because they are not really as fine as we are, or as the actors are to really, appreciate that. They only go for what they see, and it's so intense, whatever, everything that you do, that I am a little bit, a little bit concerned that they're going to give you only these kind of roles. And I think that is well directed for a marketing point of view, because of course you do that only for your appearance. But I would go a little bit more, to play the bad guy. You need also to be a nice guy, and be likable.
We have a friend in Argentina. Hola, Assumpta. Hola, Scott. Aprovecho para practicar mi inglés. I'm going to use it to practice his English.
That's good.
All right, so let's go to our next one, who is Barbara. 1 second. Let me just go to where I have to go here. And there we go. Barbara.
Well, my advice is to plead guilty, and then at least I can ask for leniency.
But I don't want to go to prison.
Can we go a little bit more up?
That's why I'm saying plead guilty. At least you have a chance of a non-custodial sentence. But if you plead not guilty and lose, well, you're looking at a minimum 2 years. That's my advice as your solicitor.
Well, if I get sent down, I can appeal, right?
Well, of course you can. But I really think you stand a chance if you follow my advice.
Got enough for a can of lager, have you?
No, I ain't. Got any spare change for me?
Piss off. Why don't you get a job like the rest of us?
Oh, fuck off then, if you ain't gonna help me. much more I want to do with my life.
But you are doing God's work here. God.
Oh, but there's got to be more than this. I've never known a man. I've never got drunk or driven a car or been to the cinema. I want to try these things and more. I want to live before I die.
But my child, this is your life, your chosen path. This is where you belong. Will you join me in prayer? We'll ask the Father for guidance.
But can't you see? I'm done with this.
Okay.
All right, Babs. Right. Okay. So,
Let's put it from the beginning again and we'll see it again. But what do you think as in general?
well, the first thing I thought was, I'd like to see something else, which is a good sign. Okay, but I thought I'd like to see something else. Hang on 1 second. This is a symptom of the sound, right? Because we were watching it and Assumpta went. She went. Can you turn it up a bit? All right.
Yes, and then it was too loud.
And then it was too loud. This is one of those things that we've been putting showreels under a magnifying glass for about 3 years now. And we're listening. We're actually listening with headphones. You see, they're here. So we don't get feedback by using these microphones. And so we're listening very, very closely. And the sound is at a comfortable level and it's set there and I rarely have to change it. For example, now it's a little bit too loud, right?
No, that's okay to me.
Okay.
But I am a little bit deaf.
Sorry? Did you say something? I didn't hear you. So one of the things you got to be careful was you have to be careful that how the sound is always at the same level. In an editing program, that sound appears to be minus 12 decibels. Okay, I know that doesn't make any logical sense, but that's where it dances, is minus 12. The loudest thing and the quietest thing should all be more or less minus 12. It can go down to minus 18 and it can go up to minus 6, but basically you're aiming for minus 12. The idea being that when you go between one thing and the other, people don't have to adjust the volume. And in a movie that you watch on TV or a TV show, a scream and a gunshot and a whisper will all be effectively the same volume. That's just the way it works. Okay? That's just the story there. Okay? So that's the first thing that strikes me. The next thing is that I kind of see you as being over-directed. Okay? That's another thing that I get, as I see over-direction there.
What does it mean, over-direction?
Over-directed, which means somebody said, do this, don't do that, do this, don't move there, don't do that with that, whatever it might be. Do this at this point. That somebody has been...
heavily...
You've let somebody influence you and what it's resulted in is in you censoring yourself. And there's something I want to show after this, which I discovered on Barbara's YouTube page, and I downloaded it and I have it ready here as well, which I think is a nicer indication of what she does when she's feeling freer. Okay? So let's go ahead and watch this again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm done with...
So here we go.
Well, my advice is to plead guilty, and then at least I can ask for leniency.
But I don't want to go to prison.
Well, that's why I'm saying plead guilty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Salto de eje, no?
Salto de eje, and you very badly put the camera. But apart from that...
Well, let's explain what we're talking about.
Yeah.
What it is, you're crossing the line of camera. Okay, and this is not you, by the way. This is a filmmaking thing. So, and this is also something to bear in mind if you're out there and you're going to shoot your own scenes with your colleagues or whatever it might be. And sometimes you might actually notice it before the filmmaker does.
Yeah.
What this means in terms of in Spanish is called saltando el eje, which means jumping the axle, as it were. And what we call in English is jumping the line of camera or crossing the line of camera. It's not that you can't do it, it's just that you have to do it carefully and it has to be deliberate. This director here, whoever they are, they look like they watched 3 seasons of Mr. Robot. Okay, Mr. Robot is very keen on jumping the line of camera and also of negative space. So now I'm going to take an opportunity to show everybody or explain to everybody 2 concepts in filmmaking which all actors should know. Drum roll, please. Here.
At least you have a chance of a non-custodial sentence.
This is jumping the line of camera. Okay? Here you're looking...
I don't want to go to prison.
The camera is at the right of the person?
You're looking right to left. Okay? You're looking right to left. Now, what that means is if I'm going to go closer into you, I still want you to be looking right to left. Otherwise, you're looking in a different direction. However, we cut to this.
But I don't want to go to prison.
Now you're looking left to right. Okay? Now, depending on what the shot would be with the other person that would be there, if we were cutting between the two shots, the reverse shot is that I wouldn't know who was looking at who, and it'd be very confusing. The reason I talk about negative space, look, all of this here, I'm actually going to move me over here. I'm in the negative space. Hello, I'm in negative space. The reason that we use negative space, it's used a lot in horror movies. For example, somebody's there and they're like, what could be possibly happening down here? And this space here, this is a negative space, and this is where the monster comes. Right? Okay. So it's used very often to create a sense of discomfort, a sense of their dread, or something's going to come through there. We're very used to this piece of cinematic language. And that's what we got going on here. So there's two things: the use of negative space, which is that, all this space over there behind your head, and also we got the jumping the line of camera.
But it's interesting this choice from a point of view of a filmmaker, because you're not centered in the. You have a lot of space here. Normally, how I am now. It's normally it cuts a little bit, because it gives you more space.
I can change it. You want that?
Understand, but that
you
is,
see, you've got this going on here.
That is really is not nice.
Look to your left. Look to your right.
Left, right.
Now look in the other direction. You see, what it does is it makes you small. It makes you weak.
Yes.
No,
you want this. Anyway, I don't know why the director did that, but
it's not particularly fine. Perhaps it's a storytelling thing. Remember, whenever we're looking at showreels, we're taking scenes and moments out of film, television, shorts, or things that people have shot. So it's completely out of context. It's just I'm taking this opportunity to give a small masterclass in negative
dead
space,
negative space.
Yeah, and jumping the line of camera. Okay, let's keep going.
That's why I'm saying plead guilty. At least you have a chance of a non-custodial sentence. But if you plead not guilty and lose, well, you're looking at a minimum 2 years. That's my advice as your solicitor.
Okay, as a solicitor, I don't know what you are doing with that pen.
Well, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice, Barbara, that will fix everything. Okay, it's something I also saw in the other thing that I downloaded from you. We say this to actors all the time. Just stop looking at the other actor. Just stop it. You don't have to look at them. You're a solicitor. You got power. You got money. You got a nice car in the driveway. This person in front of you doesn't matter that much. One of the things that happens to us, because we're actors and we're nice and we're generous people, and we think that to help the other actor, what we do is we look at them. One of the greatest things we can do to help the other actor is not look at them, is not be there for them, is to actually just do our own damn thing. Because what we want to buy you is, in this moment, is a solicitor who has more power than the person who's sitting in front of you. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, the actual, whatever you're doing with your pen is a problem. Why? Because I see that all the time with actors. The objects are really you have to really understand what the people are seeing and watching is you that wants things. So if you don't detail why you are with this pen, exactly why and a reason why you are doing this, the activity really bothers the viewer. What are you doing? You are actually noting something that he just said. Well, you have to finish.
Are you filling in a form?
You're filling in a form.
Or what you're doing? It's like everybody's had that experience, for example, of being in a job interview. And you're sitting there with a person. You're like, so I really like movies. And they go, likes movies. And you're like, did he just write down that I like movies? Is that a thing? Is that a bad thing? Am I in trouble? Shouldn't I? Oh, why did I say that? Anything that you're using, whether you're writing, whether you're drinking, whether you're smoking, whether you're eating, whether you're scratching your bottom, do it like you really want to do it, right? Eat like you're hungry, drink like you're thirsty, write like you got something to put down to remember. You see, the thing that what we got going on here is you're sort of stuck between I'm supposed to give this guy my attention, right? And I'm also supposed to be making notes, right? Remember this, you're not there to help the other actor. You're there to, as we would say in Spanish, defend the character that you're playing, which is, we just have to believe that you're this person, no?
I'm sure that you felt uncomfortable because I can see it, I can see it just by, it's very small detail, but it's not that small. People are, they don't, perhaps they're not going to identify the viewer, perhaps it's not going to identify well what was going on, but I do, and a lot of casting directors can do, and also some directors also, you know what I mean? The objects and the activities, they have to have always a must, wanting something with this activity, and also, to have somehow finishing the activity, because if not, we don't know what you are doing, and then it's noise. We don't really, So that is one, and so I feel also you're uncomfortable there, and I suppose that is something that the director said to you. You are there with but you didn't. The most important thing here is to show or actually be a solicitor, and it weakens this thing of the pen. So. That is not for now. It's okay, but it's for you to think about it. And if you feel comfortable one day doing something that you don't know why you're doing it, please don't do it.
The other thing I would suggest is one of the things that we see very often in showreels is the first scene is the way the actor would like themselves to be perceived. And it's not necessarily the best way to sell themselves. Right, that's a very, very, I know it's a great generalization, but this higher status professional woman, etc., I don't know, Barbara, you might even be a solicitor, and we're talking out of our backsides here, but the idea is we're going to play something which is high status, which I think is very, very useful, and all actors should be able to play it, is that we have to do it shamelessly and
with a lot of commitment. You cannot do an activity that is not an activity.
Yeah. And that's a particular, and that's a thing. Right, let's keep going. I want to show you my thought process here that I did when I saw this. So I'm going to go here.
I can appeal, right?
Again.
Of course you can.
No, right, no. So what happened was, it started out watching it, right? I started watching it, right? And I'm going, she's doing this.
That's why I'm saying.
And I go, we jumped the line of camera.
You plead guilty. At least you have a chance of a non-custodial sentence. But if you plead not guilty and lose, well.
So I came here and I went, oh, she's writing with her left hand. I wonder if they flopped the scene, right? So my question was, right, what I mean by flopping the scene would be to take the image and just completely reverse it, put it in a mirror image.
Flip.
And well, it's actually flopping.
Oh, flopping?
It's
versus a flip, no? A picture?
No, flip would be like this. Flopping is like this.
Okay.
So flopping is like a horizontal flop. So what's on the left becomes on the right. So I was thinking maybe they flopped it all so she was left-handed. That happens sometimes when you've got a scene. However, then I noticed this. So there's a clock which tells me that it wasn't flopped. Okay, so the clock tells me that the image is correct. Okay.
2 years. What's my advice as your solicitor?
Well, if I get sent down, I can appeal.
It's not very interesting as you as an actress, you see.
No, it's not. It's not the best thing. And there's another Mr. Robot shot.
No, I wouldn't put this bit. All of it is like, no, I don't believe you.
No, I'm not buying it.
Well, of course you can. But I really think you stand a chance if you follow my advice.
It's also a weak ending doing a comment, about these people, and you know what I mean. And then one of the things I would say to all actors, and this is interesting to see it from within the context of Joseph, who came before, and his showreel, is that we should never be afraid to do something which we would never do in real life, and we should never be afraid to be disliked. Yes.
That's the thing. One of the reasons that we're actors in the first place is that we actually want people to like and love us and appreciate us for who we are and what we're capable of doing and being. And sometimes those things that we have to do and be are things which are reprehensible and not nice. We actually have to be harsh with people. And this is not about being complicated. This is about taking something and playing it very, very simply and very directly. And shamelessly so. right? You to be not afraid of people's opinions at that point, because what we're attempting to do has a completely different motivation and objective, which is to advise somebody or to stop them from doing something, whatever it might be. All really, really dynamic acting is based on doing something very, very simple, but with complete commitment.
Exactly. So, what would be a better ending for this scene? If you, instead of, if you just look at him and think about things, not going back into this activity, that doesn't tell me anything. If I could I could read your thoughts on exactly what happened to him, what is his reaction on what you're saying. If I actually can read that, then it's good acting. But here, that all this is, and I think it's because you were not comfortable with the director or with the scene. There was something there that didn't let you flourish, or you were not, with the imagination, with the running fluid imagination.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Got enough for a can of lager, have you?
No, I ain't. You got any spare change for me?
Piss off. Why don't you get a job like the rest of us?
Oh, fuck off then. You ain't gonna help me.
It's interesting, these moments of loneliness, because instead of showing, that you're trembling, the idea is you want to stop it, perhaps.
But
what is happening with someone that trembles is also more interesting than to say that I'm trembling. It's just, it seems if there is a moment in which, you are a little bit, against yourself, saying, oh, why I cannot stop, then I can believe it better. You see that only to show that you are trembling.
Well, there's another thing that's going on here, which is the sort of thing that we deal with when we're teaching classes, courses, and when we're coaching as well, which is the idea of the consciousness of where the camera is. The camera is not just watching you like a BBC, natural history department cameraman watches a lion on the Serengeti. It's not just watching you. You're sharing things with the camera. You get to tell the camera things, and what you're telling it is what you're thinking and what you're hiding. Think about that for a minute. You're letting the camera see you hiding what you're thinking. Good night. No, so what happens there is that we lean in as the audience. And this happens on stage as well, but on camera even more so. We lean in because we want to know what's going on with that person. And when you let us see what you're thinking, or what you're trying not to let us see you're thinking, we begin to make up the story ourselves. Okay, we don't look, which is very interesting, because Assumpta and I, we watch a lot of documentaries, and we like natural history programs about animals and stuff like that. And the curious thing is, if you watch one of those great nature documentaries on animals, they cut the shots between the animals as if they're looking at each other and relating to one another.
Yes.
They're cheating. It's like there'll be like a bunny hadger will arrive. A bunny hadger? No, a honey badger. A bunny hadger. That's what we call a spoonerism. A honey badger will arrive, come into like this sort of like dirt nest, and then the snake will go. That isn't a reaction shot from the snake. The snake didn't actually react to the honey badger coming in, but what they did is they made it look like it did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's how you can do a documentary false.
Exactly. It's like with cats. Cats, the reason that cats are so compelling and they're so funny is because they have faces with no expressions whatsoever. So what we do is we invest in what they're thinking or what they're doing. It's very, very peculiar like that. So the thing is, when you're playing the homeless lady, is that I want to see what you're thinking, because you can what you can share with us, you can't share with the man who came up and told you to get a job.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
and that in your coat is immaculately clean. So the other thing is no, that's an important thing, is that when we're, there would have been a time in life when the idea of seeing somebody who slept on the street would have been quite unusual. Unfortunately, at this stage in the 21st century, we're all very, very used to it, and we're so the thing is, if you're going to do something like that,
very sophisticated by recognizing the.
Well, not only that, as you could say, what else can I add to it? What can I make this a little bit more mine and a little bit more original?
That's why I'm saying, to me, the first thought I had is, what is relationship with your trembling? What is exactly this illness that you don't want to see, or you are upset by it, or you are, enraged against that. There are three different possibilities that you can do that would be more interesting than to show us the trembling. Anyway, that is my...
Right, keep going.
Please, somebody help me. I shouldn't be here, please.
Right, I would assume that this is the same director, because he stuck it down in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And it looks like he said, be careful you don't get the bar over your eye.
Yeah, and then, you had to be there all the time, fixed, and that it shows, it shows.
So this is the idea that if you're being frantic and you want to get out, that there'd be more movement. What you're doing is you're trying to see something. You're trying to see if they're listening to you. You're trying to see if they're... if they're actually paying any attention to you.
That's why I don't buy it, because you're completely frozen by the idea of this bar that is
and you understand what I mean by over-directed.
Yeah, I understand now.
It's one of the things that we always try to do is try to make try to make actors director-proof. Yeah. So even if you're given terrible direction, that you have to save your own backside. When you're working, which means that sometimes you have to sort of not do exactly what they want you to do. Look, technically, it's a pain in the backside to work with bars, but what you need to do is to be conscious of being able to see the camera. If you can see the camera can see you. Okay, this is a little bit of the sixth sense of acting on film. Acting on camera is a little bit like driving a car and having a conversation. The stuff with what can I say? The bars, the light, the shadow, sometimes it's the sound. There's a whole bunch of technical things that we have to take into consideration. That's driving the car. The acting part is the conversation we're going to have with the passenger. The trouble is, if we are too worried about the technical part, then the part when we're actually having the conversation just goes to hell in a handbasket. That's one of the reasons, and this is a very common thing that men have to go through, is that when we're driving a car and we're lost, the first thing we have to do is to switch the radio off. Right? It's just not possible to be lost, listen to the radio and drive. It's just way too many things.
Anyway, I just want you to, I wish I could have you as a student, because I know that I would enjoy, because I know that there is a lot of possibilities with you. I can feel it, your own face expresses so many things that they are inside you, and you need only a person that actually, instead of saying not do this, is actually
it's to free you and let you know how much of a monster you can be. No, it's true. Everybody has to learn how to be monstrous, savage, brutal, cruel, uncompromising, and pure. Mm-hmm. And intense, and all of those things.
Well, did we see it all?
Yeah, one last thing. I just wanted to remind everybody who's out there on YouTube, give us a like, tell your friends about us. But there's one thing I want to show you. So we get to the end of this, okay? We're not finished a video book yet.
I don't understand. I shouldn't be here. It wasn't my fault.
Poor thing, you have a lot of problems not to move, And of course, the emotion is completely, locked, because you have all this, all this bother.
That bastard. That bastard.
Yeah.
There's so much more I want to do with my life.
But you are doing God's work here. God.
Oh, but there's got to be more than this. I've never known a man. I've never got drunk or driven a car or been to the cinema.
First thing I got to say is thematically, this is obviously not a Spanish nun, because all the Spanish nuns I know go to the movies, drive cars, they like their wine. You know what I mean?
It's true.
You know, you nuns up in the north of England have it rough. You know. And Assumpta, you've played. How many nuns have you played?
I don't know.
Sor Juana is de la Cruz, Elena Studler. You played a leading role of a nun in at least 2 films.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
It's
anyway,
interesting.
That's just got to do. That has to do with the writing more than anything else. It's not.
Yes,
But anyway, let's get back to where we were.
I want to try these things and more. I want to live before I die.
But my child, this is your life, your chosen path. This is where you belong. Will you join me in prayer? We'll ask the Father for guidance.
But can't you see? I'm done with this.
Okay.
Right. That, from my point of view, that doesn't do you any favors. It doesn't do you any favors. It's not a useful scene.
Can we see the other thing?
Yeah. Well, let's go and what.
I don't know. It doesn't disturb me much, this little bit, but yeah. Let's see the other thing that you really like of her, and I didn't.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, Jonathan, what are you up to right now?
Not a lot. I'm just cleaning my windows and a bit of tidying it up, so what can I do you for?
Well, I need you to come over ASAP. I've got some shocking news for you.
I'm on my way.
Oh, good. Right, I'll pop kettle on.
Brilliant. See you in a bit. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, bye.
So, my lovely, tell me what this shocking news is you've got for me then.
Well, it's quite bad, actually. Her next door, town queen of our street, well, she was up Thornick Garden yesterday,
And you just happened to be putting something in the bin?
Well, actually, I was watering my petunias, and I couldn't help but overhear with that foghorn voice of hers.
Wait a minute. Your petunias are in the hanging baskets at the front. You were earwigging, weren't you?
Maybe. Good job I was. She's taking up with another new fella.
Tell me more. Hope it's someone hunky.
Trust you. Well, I reckon he might be. She says she's getting a Brazilian.
Eh?
Yeah, that's what she said, quite plainly. Getting a Brazilian this week. Hey, it's no laughing matter. Especially if he's wearing a pair of them there skimpy Speedo trunks and the canoodling in the garden. It'll lower the tone.
Mavis, you are so funny. Do you know what a Brazilian is?
Someone from Brazil, obviously.
So naive. A Brazilian is what women have done to their hair on certain parts of the body to make it nice and trim. And they have it done in a beauty salon.
What? Oh, you're having me on. Oh, blimey. Oh, what have I done? I've put a letter out to all neighbours warning them about this foreigner that's coming this week.
Mavis, you're so funny. Just let them have a giggle and they'll forget about it in 5 minutes.
No, they won't. I'll be a laughingstock. Oh, and I've got to go to shops later. Oh.
Wait, where are you going?
I've got to go up into the loft and find that wig and them dark glasses that you gave me. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me.
I think I'll stay. This is something I definitely can't miss.
It's a nice, cute little scene.
Yeah, it's very sweet. You know, it's very. it's something which is it's very authentic. You play it very, very well. It's nicely written. If I was going to edit it, I would actually start at the coffee making. I wouldn't have the conversation at the start on the phone. It's not necessary.
Yes.
I would just take it out. I'd start out with the click and the coffee. Those are nice little inserts, nice little bit of filmmaking there. I think that's really is sweet. The scene is nice. I would have come up with a different ending, right? Which would have resulted in the lady going to the hairdresser and asking for a Brazilian. But anyway, that's me. I'm just wicked. But do you see what I mean?
Yes.
It's charming, right?
It's charming and it's good. Yeah, and I obviously would stop before the guy so that we don't need to understand the story at the end. We would close with you.
That's if you were putting it as part of a showreel.
Yes, because I think you should. I think you should replace some of the stuff.
Yeah, I would take the bit out at the start. It's completely natural. It's completely authentic. You're in a house. I believe it's your house.
Yes.
And it's very nice. And there's a gentleness to it there. And also, this is the other thing. Look, we always suggest that there's a particular thing that's going on in film and television right now, and we've talked about this many times, where women are considered to be strong and queens and everything else because they're acting in a cruel and unusual way. Basically, they're acting like unpleasant men, and for some reason that's like, you go girl. But really, characters are strong when they're vulnerable. They're actually strong when they're innocent, and it takes a very smart actor to understand the power and the intelligence of playing somebody who's not entirely unaware of everything that's going on around them. And it's very, very endearing. And quite frankly, I think that's like a greater example of something that I go, look, get her. She'll be great at that. What's she doing? She's playing the busybody, neighbor, or she's playing the, the concerned aunt. She's playing the, all those sorts of things.
There is a lot of things that it opens up for me, to imagine you in roles with that scene.
And you got this beautiful Burnley accent going on there. I'm not sure who the man is, but when he says, you hear that when he says hair.
Yes.
There's her.
Yeah,
it's like, if you're from Burnley, it's sort of something like, it's like her. It's so. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's brilliant. I think it's really great. So I watched your showreel the other day, and I went, okay, right. Some things I changed there, and we talked about that. But then I saw you had a YouTube page, and I saw this, and I went,
that is the first time I see it.
Yeah, and I thought this is delightful. So I immediately downloaded that because I wanted to put that there as well. Because one of the things that we always try to do is, and this is very important, somebody just sent me their showreel before, and she looks wonderful. She's on Spotlight. She's got a Spotlight page. The thing with it is that it's not a great indication of what she could possibly do as an actress. And my question is, what else you got? Okay. The great advantage that we have now is because of self-tapes and because of the fact that we all carry a high definition camera in our pockets in the form of an iPhone or an Android phone. It means that everybody's much more accustomed to seeing high definition material that's relatively well recorded. But the most important thing is that they're focusing on the performance and the qualities and the nature of the actor in the shot. Because sometimes you can see something and it's not the best shot thing in the world, but you can really see the quality of it.
Yes.
In fact, if you go back to
that would help you more than the bits that you have in your demo reel.
Yeah.
I would do other things on your demo reel that they are more in the understanding another person in a close talk. You know what I mean? Have the softness that I can feel on you that is also very powerful and nice, and the kind of innocent softness, because you have a lot of big avenue of roles there. You have the friend, the grandmother, you have such a very nice vast so I would do that. I would also change that and put other things if you can, that they are more in that particular way of seeing yourself in roles that they are not extreme, but they are castable, very, very. You can castable. You say castable.
I would say castable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Castable is pretty good. And the other thing you got to remember, you're up in. I assume you're up in Burnley, in the north of England. The BBC moved everything up to Salford. It's a great centre of BBC production, and this is happening all over the world. What's they consider to be the decentralisation of the film and TV industry. For example, virtually everything. All the
diversity.
All the things that are important that are happening in the United States, they're not happening in Los Angeles anymore. They're all being shot in Atlanta, or like Vancouver or Toronto, as they always were, or Montreal. So these are the things that kind of happen. But no, I think it's there's a wonderful likeness there, and it's something that you should see how you can do more of, as far as I'm concerned. But it's a very nicely put together scene.
So thank you very much to you both. To really, we enjoy, as you see, watching your videos, your demo reels, and it would be very nice, for us to keep doing that. So please do. I hope that you both enjoy when you're watching this. Please don't be strangers and say something if you see it, And I hope that it would be useful for it's going to be useful for you.
Yeah, and we want everybody who's with us here. Eduardo Andrés Guajardo Saavedra. Hopefully you're still here. He's watching us from Chile. In South America, Hugo Alberto Rodriguez Ciliero.
From Chile, I think.
No. Eduardo is from Chile.
Eduardo is from Chile.
Sí.
Hugo Alberto is from.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have to look him up, actually. Well, let us know where you're from, Hugo Alberto.
Yes.
Jim Talbot, who my old pal, who's up there in the north as well. He says, look,
she does sound like a Burnley
lass in some ways, similar accent to Backup and Waterfoot area. There you go. Yeah. I know she's from Burnley because I looked her up. I'm not that clever. No, I'm not. No, but this is the thing is, when I was a kid, one half of my family's from, they moved from Edinburgh to Macclesfield, which is just outside of Manchester. So, I spent all my time surrounded by that sort of accent, sort of like that, So that's more Manchester. That's basically that, an oasis. That's where it comes from.
Francisco Peramos says, thanks guys, love your shows, especially when you do it in English. You even look more chulos. Thank you.
Look at that. I put a tie on and everything for you people. That's what I do.
Well, I put
completely naked from the waist down, obviously. You look nice. You're in fuchsia. You always look nice. But you are who you are, my darling. Right. Thank you very much. Remember, if you want to send us your showreels for us to analyze, you can send them to me, which is the name on the top there, which is scott@familiadecine.com, and that's our community, our wonderful community. If you want to help us out, you can always go to patreon.com/Assumpta Serna, where you can help us with a very, very small amount of it's like cheaper than a cup of coffee. I used to say cheaper than a cup of coffee, but you have any idea how much a cup of Starbucks costs? It's cheaper than a cup of cheap coffee. That's the thing. A month, you can get us there on Patreon. We have a community of nigh on 100 people who have been helping with us, working with us. A wonderful community and this all started up during the confinement and the pandemic.
And thanks to them, we are still here and doing, our show for you every Thursday. So we'll see you every Thursday.
Yeah.
See Barbara, if you can come next Thursday and tell us what you thought on our comments were.
You can message us and tell us what you think.
Of course.
Whatever. Remember,
you too, Peter, what's it called?
Joseph.
Sorry.
So to do our accent, all you need to say is shop up till, going down shop. There we go.
Down shop.
Going down shop. Going downhill.
I cannot do that.
No, you can't. Well, you're from Spain. The idea of you trying to do like a Cheshire accent, is a bit of a push.
Or perhaps if I'm there.
Yes, perhaps if you live there, she'll be like something will be like, yes, I'm going up to shops. That's what it'd be like. Look, it's been wonderful to have you all here. Remember, Look, we even have Antonio Banderas saying the name of our...
A la familia del cine.
That always makes me happy. He did that at the start of 2021 when they had the Goyas, which are like the Spanish Oscars, in the middle of the pandemic, and nobody was there. It was one of the most surreal pieces of television ever, and everybody was on Zoom. You can possibly imagine how peculiar all that was.
Yes.
It's wonderful to have you here. We're going to be back next Thursday
yes.
in English again. If you do want to send us your reels
Yeah,
or
Jim
any
says
questions...
I will send you a video later. Okay, good.
Oh, fantastic.
How you say this mad accent.
I'll send you a video after how to say this mad accent. Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. Thank you very much. And to everybody there who's been with us on Instagram, thank you to you guys as well. It's a delight.
A delight.
A delight. And tomorrow we're going to be interviewing a Spanish director. That'll be happening 8 o'clock. We'll be doing that in Spanish. So if you want to practice your Spanish, come and swing by. We'll be in the same bat time and the same bat channel. And until then, what do I always try to say in English? Onwards.
And upwards.
That's the one. All right, this is our after show. So it's very interesting. One of the great things about doing showreels, in Spanish and English or whatever is that it illuminates things about acting. It illuminates things about the
camera,
the technicalities of acting on camera.
Yes.
And the most important thing that it sounds like the
feeling
damning
that
it with faint praise, which is when somebody comes across as being really competent. It's completely underrated, this idea of competence, because people aren't quite sure how to define it. But when you see it, you know what it is. It's like that the Republican politician when he was asked, well, what exactly is pornography? He says, I can't define, but I know it when I see it. And the certain thing about competence in acting is it's usually when you actually stop thinking about the acting and you're engaged in what the person's doing.
No, I like doing it also in English, these comments, because, I can appreciate also the change of culture, the things that the others do better or not, it's interesting, it's interesting.
Yeah, would you say that the showreels in Spanish and English are that different?
Well,
what would you say?
Different. But I mean,
I'm sorry to quiz you so much, but I'm sure you didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition.
No, the one with Joseph, for instance, I can feel that is a way of acting that is really Middle East kind of. Middle East.
Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe. I can this intensity. This I can see that in Prague. I can see that in Poland. I can see that but not in the Latino countries. It's interesting, and it's also because the schools are like that, because the weather, I suppose, because the wars, because
Well, it's interesting. There's a certain something which I think everybody can learn. I think sometimes that there's a degree of emasculation, and I don't just mean with men. I mean with women as well. That happens inside drama schools and training. Certainly in Britain it happens, and I see how it happens here, which is very shocking, because you and I went to see this flamenco show the other day, and the women were the most powerful, savage creatures you could possibly imagine, but incredibly feminine.
Yes.
It's to say one thing is not exclusive of the other.
No. But you look there also. It was a Taiwanese dancer.
Yeah.
Dancing flamenco. Directing flamenco.
And the power of it really came from the flamenco.
Yeah.
It was very, very interesting.
Very.
But anyway, it's been a delight. Get out there, go watch a flamenco show, enjoy that. Flamenco, I believe, it should be considered as high an art form as jazz or painting or sculpture or music or anything else. I think it is.
I think it does, no?
Well, it's septimo art, the seventh art.
Yeah.
Which the seventh art is supposed to be cinema. I don't know what the other ones are.
Oh, I see.
You know,
Okay.
making a good cup of tea is number 3. You know, I don't know what it comes down to. Anyway, look, it's been a delight to hang with you cats, and we'll see you all soon. See you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.